And welcome. It is so nice to have you with us right here on Biz Truck Radio. Well, besides the weight gain that many of us have experienced from lack of movement, we're not moving as much, but many people are at this point really feeling the stress. And many young kids are also feeling the stresses of COVID-19, and it is affecting their lives. We just saw that the class of 2020 and the celebrations, the virtual celebrations that were done, and one girl in our neighborhood, the mother put on the windows pictures of her during her last year, some fun photographs and really great things, and congratulating her from graduating from college. But the bottom line is everyone is affected in this. And for us to not look at the emotional piece of our own health and the health of our kids is really putting the blanket over us, and we can no longer do it, especially as we continue with the closures and the uncertainties of what's going to happen for the new year, the new fall school year. So joining us is Dr. Jeffrey Cazenove, who is the co-founder and clinical director of Academics West School in New York City. And it is the only accredited therapeutic school committed to improving the academic, social, and emotional functioning of all of its students. And their programs lends therapeutic support and academic intervention in a unique format to help children with learning and emotional differences. And Doctor, it is such a pleasure. You're a New York-based psychologist, mental health counselor, and school psychologist in New York State, and we're so thrilled to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me on the show. It's really great to be here.
The emotional piece of this story is not being covered enough. We just are not talking enough about it. And many people, they say, will be having severe post-traumatic stress syndrome when this is over. And it's affecting our kids. And tell us, in your opinion, what's going on and some of the solutions and what some of the things that you recommend to your parents and for the students that you're working with.
Sure. First I would say this has obviously been a incredibly novel experience for everybody in the world. And our patterns and our standard kind of ways in which we do things has all shifted. And I think it's taken many of us weeks, and some of us still have not figured out sort of the rhythm of our day-to-day, what we should be doing every day. And I think for our kids, schools are significantly disrupted, whether it's public or private. Even public schools, they have challenges where they're trying to do some learning, which is what we call synchronous learning, where they're learning live, and then they have sort of work that they have to do independently, and then they realize that's not working, and they're shifting that, and that's causing disruption in kids, because the kids are now being forced to do a lot of independent learning. And if you look at an adolescent, adolescence by definition is a tumultuous time where there's more emotions kind of firing through their body, and they're saying things that they might not mean until they mature and develop. And now they have this pandemic where they're stuck home with their parents, and sometimes those conflicts can get even worse, right? Because they don't have the ability to go and escape and speak to either teachers at school or certainly friends, and really have connections in the way that we're so accustomed to. They can't do that anymore. So what we're seeing is a lot of kids, really, particularly I would say adolescents, isolating more, not engaging in therapy, even though we're trying to do a lot of virtual therapy. They're not engaging in it as in the way that we'd like. And again, we have a therapeutic school as well as a mental health practice in New York City, and we see these kids, really starting to struggle and isolate more. Younger kids, lower school kids, typically there's a lot of scaffolding that parents have to do, and in many ways they have to be the kind of co-teacher or facilitator. And I think that's causing a lot of, disruption too, because parents are trying to either keep their jobs and work at home, or they're struggling to, find work and trying to navigate their financial struggles. So, there's challenges all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place. The truth is that we don't know what's going to happen. It's not like we could say to kids, this is going to be okay, and we really don't. We're in blind territory, as you say. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and every day is a challenge.
It is, and I think from a psychologist standpoint, I think for people in the mental health field and things that we're talking about is, what human beings like to have control and know what the future is going to hold. So to know when you're going to, have dinner at a restaurant and, make reservations and plan your trips, and all those things right now are gone. And we are obviously cautiously optimistic that those things will change sooner than later. So, from our standpoint, we're really trying to get parents and for them to work with their kids to be aware of what they can control and create a really strong schedule, so they feel, it's like a warm blanket. Being able to understand what you can control versus what you can't is, very powerful, and I think helps us. So we're really trying to get people to have good schedules and to try to plan, healthy things each day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that we have also noticed, and I really believe that the food piece of this story, and it was just on the news that Americans have gained a tremendous amount of weight during COVID-19, and we all, even healthy foods, we're eating too many foods, and allowing kids to eat a lot of junk food, in my opinion, is also very bad during this time. And I think it's time for all of us to really get control. The one thing that we can control is the foods that we're eating and the healthiness of the foods. We have control of that today.
We do, and obviously certainly exercise and eating right is important. I think all kids and parents can do this with them, especially with the younger ones, is to try to engage in healthy activity. I just did some gardening with, my son and my daughter, and they really enjoyed it. I think it was something new that we haven't really done together, and that's really healthy and also productive. So, and even when you're making dinner, certainly adolescents can be, again, as I said before, a tough time, and they can often battle us and say that they want to have a lot of pizza when we know that's not healthy. But if they're doing the cooking with you, and they're collaborating and you get them involved in it, I think you find that they will start to make better choices.
Right. I think that makes sense. And, I've watched a couple of the cooking shows, and I'm actually so impressed with young kids that love cooking on the Cooking Network. I mean, I'm blown away by some of these young kids, Doc. I mean, they're like really amazing little chefs and bakers. So it doesn't matter the age. I think that, that could be something that develops for many kids while they're at home, is doing the help preparing and being a part of the activities in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. I found personally, I have 3 kids at home, that this has given me a great opportunity to teach them things that I probably would not have had time to do before. So again, whether it's gardening, cooking, but those are,
yes.
Listen, even though this is such a, terrible time in the world, and it's, really been horrific, there is some good in terms of the kind of quality time that we can do with our kids. And,
absolutely.
We're
out of time, but give us the website for your the school and people can check it out, please.
Oh, sure. So our website is www.academicswest.com, and we are a accredited therapeutic school in actually we're in
Awesome.
Lincoln Center in the heart of New York City.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all that you do, and we'll be back in a moment. It's Frankie Boyer. Stay tuned. This is Biz Talk Radio.